Let's get real for a second, brother. Most men can hear the words coming out of a woman's mouth, but they have no idea how to hear what's actually being communicated. She'll tell you one thing with her lips, but her timing, her silence, and the way she looks at you will be saying something completely different. And if you can't read that contrast, you'll spend years thinking women are mysterious, when really the patterns are painfully consistent. You're not lost. You're just decoding the wrong language. And just so we're clear, this isn't about blaming women or turning relationships into some battle. This is about awareness, the kind men were never taught. Because once you understand the emotional engine behind the words women use, your confusion evaporates. You stop tripping over mixed signals. You stop waiting for clarity that's never coming. You start living with a backbone instead of wishful thinking. All right, let's start with the first one, the one every man hears at least once. 1. I'm not ready for a relationship right now. Sounds gentle, sounds reasonable, even sounds honest, but it's not the truth. What she's really saying is this: I'm not ready for a relationship with you. That's the part she leaves out. This line isn't a statement about timing. It's a statement about desire. She's not telling you she needs to heal or focus on herself or work on her goals. She's telling you, the man I actually want hasn't chosen me, and you're the emotional backup that fills the silence. Most guys hear it and think, if I'm patient, she'll come around. No, brother. If she wanted you, she wouldn't need time. You can quote this truth from the French writer Apollinaire. Desire is instant. Hesitation is a sign. When a woman feels something real, hesitation disappears. She'll cancel her plans. She'll adjust her schedule. She'll find excuses to see you instead of excuses to delay you. Women don't risk losing the men they actually want. So why does she word it so delicately? Because she was raised to be soft with rejection. She doesn't want to be the villain in your story. She wants you to walk away thinking she's a kind, overwhelmed girl, not a woman who simply isn't attracted to you enough to commit. Women package rejection in bubble wrap because it keeps their image clean. But no matter how soft the delivery, the message is still the same. You're not her first choice. You're her safe choice. And if you stay, you become her emotional storage unit. The comfortable place she places her loneliness until the man she actually wants circles back. So when you hear, "not now," don't wait for a version of the story that doesn't exist. Don't invest in a fantasy she doesn't even believe in. Protect your time, like it's your currency, because it is. Let's move to the second lie. This one is a classic because it feeds your ego so well that most men never question it. 2. I don't usually do this, but with you it's different. This one is crafted perfectly for male psychology. It's designed to make you feel chosen, exceptional, one of a kind. She's not just flirting, she's performing. She's building a narrative where you're the exception to her rules. But understand something. When someone has to announce their purity, it's usually because they're trying to manage how you see them. Women know men judge. They know men interpret experience differently. They know men feel more emotionally validated when they think they're unlocking a special part of her. So, she frames her choices in innocence. She places a halo on her own head and hands you the credit for knocking it sideways. But the truth, if she's doing it with you, she's done it before. Maybe not the exact scenario, but the emotional pattern is the same. This line isn't about morality. It's about image control. Women are experts at keeping their reputation shiny, even when their behavior isn't. She's not lying to hurt you. She's lying to protect how she wants to be perceived. The problem is, when men confuse this performance with genuine emotional depth, you think you're the catalyst. You think you're inspiring her to break her rules. But, as Carl Jung once said, we meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises. She's not revealing a rare side of herself. She's replaying a familiar pattern with a new partner. If a woman truly doesn't usually do this, she won't be doing it. Full stop. And this is where most men stumble, thinking they've stepped into a unique moment, when all that happened is they walked onto a stage where the script was already written. Now, let's get into the next lie, one that destroys men financially, mentally, and emotionally when they take it literally. 3. I don't like money. Every man has heard this at some point, usually delivered in a soft tone, as if she's above material things, and men fall for it instantly. You hear that and think, finally, a woman who values me, not my bank account. But don't get fooled by the packaging. When a woman says she doesn't care about money, she's not rejecting wealth. She's rejecting men who worship money more than they worship connection. What she's actually saying is, I want a man who chooses me over his ego, but still knows how to create stability. Money to her isn't greed. It's direction. It's responsibility. It's proof that you're not just drifting through life waiting for luck to hit you. Even the most carefree, free-spirited woman feels safe around a man who can handle pressure. And whether she admits it or not, stability is one of the oldest languages of attraction. Think about human evolution. As Nietzsche once wrote, every instinct in us is older than our thinking. Women aren't consciously calculating stability. They feel it. They respond to it. They need to trust that the man they're with isn't one bad day away from collapse. So, when she says she doesn't like money, don't interpret that as, I'm cool with you staying broke forever. She may stay with you while you're in a rebuilding phase, but not if you're emotionally resigned to that phase. Women aren't drawn to the man who has everything. They're drawn to the man who knows how to build. And here's the truth you can tattoo on your mind. Women don't fall in love with money. They fall in love with a man who moves like he can attract it, because that man radiates vision, structure, and self-governance. So don't misread her simplicity as permission to stay stagnant. She's actually saying, show me progress, show me direction, show me that you can lead us somewhere better than here. And that leads perfectly into the next lie, one that has confused more men emotionally than almost anything else women say. 4. I want a nice guy. This one is the ultimate trap because every woman says it. And yet, most of the men they fall hardest for are not nice in the way men understand the word. To men, nice means gentle, compliant, agreeable, non-confrontational. But when a woman says nice, she's talking about a man who has warmth without losing his backbone. She doesn't want someone who bends to every mood swing, every insecurity, every emotional storm she brings. She wants someone who respects her feelings, but doesn't drown in them. Someone who can hold space, but also hold the line. Men hear nice and think if I just treat her like a queen from day one, she'll choose me. But women don't fall for men who put them on a pedestal before they've earned it. Women fall for men who treat themselves like kings and invite her into that kingdom. A nice guy without boundaries isn't attractive. He's forgettable. Here's the part most men refuse to accept. Women test men not to manipulate, but to feel the strength of his character. She wants to know if your kindness is backed by confidence or rooted in fear. And when you over-explain, over-apologize, or over-pursue, she stops feeling the masculine tension that makes attraction real. She stops feeling your authority. And without authority, kindness becomes weakness, and weakness kills desire. The paradox is simple. She wants a man who is kind to her but strong for both of you. Nice in her mouth means, be good to me, but don't let me walk all over you. Be gentle with my heart, but firm with your standards. Be warm, but don't be soft. The man who understands this balance doesn't chase women. He becomes the center of gravity they naturally move toward. But here's where men really get blindsided. They listen to what she says, instead of studying the patterns of the women she's dated, the men she's attracted to, and the emotional chemistry she responds to. And that misunderstanding sets them up for the next lie. The one that exposes whether you're dealing with a woman who is healed or one who's still emotionally tied to her past. 5. My ex means nothing to me. Men hear this and immediately breathe a sigh of relief. They think, good, clean slate, fresh start. But slow down, brother. Human emotions don't disappear just because someone declares them gone. Feelings don't vanish. They just get buried. Sometimes deep, sometimes shallow, but they're still there, quietly shaping her reactions, her triggers, her fears, and her choices. When she tells you her ex means nothing, she might not be lying to you. She might be lying to herself. Denial is a coping mechanism, not a confession. And often that statement is less about her ex and more about her trying to outrun whatever she still feels. It could be anger. It could be guilt. It could be hurt. Or it could be the simple desire to not look weak in front of you. A lot of women don't miss the man. They miss the power they had in the relationship. They miss the attention. They miss how it made them feel. That's why so many still peek at his profile at 1 a.m. Not because they want him back, but because they want to know if he still thinks about them. It's emotional surveillance, not emotional closure. And here's something most men never stop to question. If he meant truly nothing, why did she bring him up in the first place? Women don't talk about what's irrelevant. They talk about what still has emotional fingerprints on their mind. Whether she's comparing you to him, making fun of him, demonizing him, or pretending he never mattered. The fact that he still appears in conversations at all tells you the wound hasn't fully sealed. The danger for you is simple. You cannot outlove a woman's unresolved emotions. If her heart is still tied to old damage, you won't be her partner. You'll become her emotional rehab center. You'll spend your time trying to prove you're better than the last guy, trying to soothe wounds you didn't create, trying to heal insecurities that were planted long before you arrived. And here's the cruel irony. When she finally heals, she may not stay with the man who helped her heal. There's a reason therapists don't date their clients. When a woman is still internally tangled in her past, you risk becoming the temporary bridge that helps her reach the version of herself that another man will enjoy. It's not intentional, but it happens all the time. So instead of arguing or interrogating her when she says, "My ex means nothing to me," do the opposite. Step back, watch, observe her patterns. Does she mention him when she's emotional? Does she bring him up in arguments? Does she freeze up when his name is mentioned? Does she still react, even subtly? People reveal the truth through repetition, not explanation. Her actions will always speak in a sharper language than her words. Like the psychologist Alfred Adler wrote, "Trust only movement," meaning, watch what she does, not what she declares. Healing isn't measured by what she says. It's measured by what she no longer needs to repeat. And here's the part men hate to accept. Even if she's over him emotionally, she might not be over who she became in that relationship. Sometimes she's not revisiting the man. She's revisiting the version of herself that he damaged. That still affects you. So, when she insists her ex is irrelevant, don't challenge her. Don't accuse her. Just note it. Because a wise man doesn't compete with ghosts. He doesn't try to fix wounds he didn't cause. He evaluates whether she's truly ready or whether he's being recruited into an emotional cleanup job disguised as independence. Because the next lie she tells hits even deeper. Not because it sounds innocent, but because it often disguises the most subtle form of emotional control a man can experience. A lie so sweet, so spiritual sounding that men walk right into it without realizing how much of themselves they're about to give away. 6. I just want a man who loves me for who I am. On the surface, this feels like the deepest statement a woman can make. It sounds like vulnerability. It sounds like genuine longing. But beneath that softness, there's a darker layer most men don't catch until it's far too late. Because sometimes what she's really saying isn't love me, but don't challenge me. A lot of men confuse unconditional love with unconditional tolerance. They think being solid means absorbing her moods, accepting her excuses, ignoring her flaws, and forgiving behavior that drains their soul. They think that's loyalty, but in reality, it's self-abandonment disguised as devotion. When a woman repeatedly insists on being loved as she is, pay attention to what she's avoiding. Does she shut down when you establish a boundary? Does she cry when you point out a pattern? Does she shift blame, twist your words, or make you feel guilty for wanting mutual accountability? If so, she's not asking for love. She's asking for comfort without responsibility. A mature woman doesn't fear growth. She doesn't weaponize vulnerability. She doesn't demand that you accept her at her lowest, while refusing to rise with you. A real partner says, "Love me as I evolve, and I'll evolve with you." But the manipulative version says, "Don't question me. Don't ask me to improve. Don't hold me accountable." That's not romance. That's emotional control. And brother, let me be brutally honest. The quickest way to destroy your masculine spirit is to stay in a relationship where you keep shrinking yourself to maintain peace. As the philosopher Alain de Botton wrote, "Love begins the moment we admit we are not perfect. Growth is a requirement, not an insult." So when she uses that line, listen not to the words, but to the behavior behind it. If she's growing, working, and taking responsibility, she means it. If she's dodging every hard truth you express, she's using it. And when you fall for this lie, you become the emotional sponge she squeezes whenever life pressures her. But there's one more lie, a newer lie, a more strategic lie that women use not out of manipulation, but out of a deep understanding of male psychology. And this one catches even the sharpest men off guard. 7. I'm not like other girls. At first, this line sounds harmless, cute even, maybe even flattering. But let me tell you the truth most men never realize. This sentence is not a description. It's a performance. It's one of the most effective lines women use to bypass your defenses. It's the psychological fast pass to male trust. Because men are starving to meet a woman who's different. So, when she tells you she's not like the rest, you start believing you found the exception. You start lowering your boundaries. You start opening up faster, and you stop questioning behaviors you would normally be wary of. But here's the part you need burned into your mind. A woman who truly isn't like other girls will never have to announce it. The moment she says it, she's telling you exactly what she fears. She fears being seen as average. She fears being judged the way she judges other women. She fears you recognizing the exact patterns she herself falls into. And so she rushes to differentiate herself with words instead of actions. Sometimes, "I'm not like other girls" means, "I know what men want to hear. I'm trying to separate myself from the competition. I'm shaping your perception before my behavior reveals the truth." It's self-branding, not self-awareness. And here's the controversial part most people won't admit. Women who say this line often end up behaving exactly like the women they deny being similar to, just wrapped in a quieter, more strategic presentation. The difference isn't in their character, it's in their marketing. A woman who is genuinely rare won't tell you she's different. She'll show you in her discipline, in her emotional stability, in her loyalty, in her consistency, in her self-respect, in the way she treats you when you're at your lowest, in how she handles conflict, in how she speaks about others when they're not in the room. That's how rarity reveals itself. Not with a tagline, but with patterns. So, when you hear, "I'm not like other girls," don't get hypnotized by the promise of uniqueness. Step back and observe. See if her actions match the identity she's selling. Because if not, you're not dealing with a rare woman. You're dealing with a woman who knows how to imitate rarity. And now, brother, here's the part that ties all 7 lies together. Women aren't the enemy. But their words can be misleading if you don't know how to read the emotional reality underneath. A wise man doesn't debate. He doesn't overthink. He doesn't cling. He observes. He sees the truth without needing it spoken. And he chooses accordingly. If this video opened your eyes, drop a comment. Tell me which of these lies you've heard before, and what you learned from them. Let's keep building men who don't just love, but lead. Who don't just react, but respond with purpose. Who don't just listen to words, but see the truth behind them. Remember this: your silence, your standards, and your self-control will protect you far more than any romantic promise ever will. If these insights have changed the way you view the dynamics between men and women, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. We are uncovering the psychological blueprints that have been hidden for too long. Build your strength. The next chapter of truth will be revealed soon.